Okay, so it's Sunday and I have had a really good book week for book mail, as you can probably tell from this stack right here. I've managed to get 2 pre-orders which I bought probably last year, so I believe I know which ones they are, but I'm still waiting for that surprise. I have my latest Illumicrate book only subscription. I actually know which book this is, I've seen it online already, so I'm excited to read it. And then I have a box of stories, which is always a great surprise box of 4 books. And then I also have, I don't know if you can actually see, I have the Goldsboro Sci-Fi and Fantasy subscription box. So let's do a book haul and open all these on camera. I'm gonna move these away because they're quite balanced quite precariously on the edge of my desk, so I'm just gonna put it across here out of the way. But yeah, first let's do the 2 pre-orders because I'm really excited to see if I do remember which ones these. But I got 2 pre-orders this week. I believe they are both fantasy books, so okay, I know which one this is already. Okay, the first one is Grave Empire by Richard Swan. I just finished reading Richard Swan's fantasy novel. What's its name? I cannot remember. Let me quickly Google it. I'm Googling it like it's definitely not on the shelf, like 2 meters behind me, but The Justice of Kings, that's the book I read, and I really adored it. I have it on both my Kindle and I have a physical edition already, so I'm excited to see what this one is. Let me quickly read the blurb for you. Blood once turned the wheels of empire, now it is money. A new age of exploration and innovation has dawned, and the Empire of the Wolf stands to take its place as the foremost power in the known world. Glory and riches awaits. But dark days are coming. A mysterious plague has broken out in the pagan kingdoms to the north, while in the south the Empire's proxy war in the lands of the Wolfmen is weeks away from total collapse. Worse still is the message brought to the Empress by 2 heretic monks who claim to have lost contact with the spirits of the afterlife. The monks believe that this is the start of an ancient prophecy heralding the end of days, the Great Silence. It falls to Renata Rayner, a low-ranking ambassador to an enigmatic and vicious race of mermen, to seek answers from those who still practice the arcane arts. But with the road south beset by war and the Empire on the brink of supernatural catastrophe, soon there may not be a world left to save. So as we can tell from the blurb, this is a new epic fantasy. I'm really excited because the writing in The Justice of Kings was so well done and the world building was fantastic. I'm hoping this is the exact same. We also have multiple wars. There's a lot of political intrigue about what's happening there, and also there's like mermen, monks, supernatural things happening, so there's going to be a lot of magic in this one. I'm quite excited to get to it, and that's why I pre-ordered. I definitely recommend it to big fantasy readers. Anything by Richard Swan. And then the next one, I'm 90% sure I know which one this is, and I pre-ordered it. You'll know I pre-ordered it purely because of the name of the book. And it is The Morrigan by Kim Curran. So The Morrigan is it's an Irish myth where the Morrigan is a big figure within it. So I immediately wanted to pick this up because it's also being talked about by, this is on the back, Lucy Holland, who's big on her kind of myth retellings. So I'm quite excited to read this one. Let me read the blurb for you quickly. They called me the Morrigan. I was magnificent. I was multitudes. They twisted my story, stripped me away, but I will tell it now in my own voice. It begins as all the best stories do, in darkness. From an ancient storm-tossed sea, a tribe of gods reaches the rocky shores of Ireland. Among them, a strange, hungry red-haired girl, a girl who can change shape from bird to beast to goddess, a girl who dreams of battle, of blood, of death and power. She does not know yet that a woman who seeks to rule will always be in danger, or that there are far more treacherous figures in this land than the gods who raised her. She does not know that one day love will burn so deep in her heart that its scars will never heal, that she will know pain so raw and pure it will almost tear her apart. She does not know that her journey will take 1,000 years, that her name will be remembered for 1,000 more. She is the Morrigan, and she is waiting, a girl with rage coiled in her chest, beautiful, powerful, ravenous rage, a rage that will live forever. So yeah, this is like an origin story to the Morrigan figure. It's probably a little bit of a retelling as well, based off of the way that she's using her own voice in the blurb, but I had to pick this up. The gold foil is really shining bright off the PC screen, and I'm really excited to get to this one too. I'm hopefully going to read this in the next few weeks. And then we're moving on to my subscription boxes. So the first one is going to be Illumicrate, and I already know which book this is. I've already seen it online, but I'm quite happy because it's one of my most anticipated books for January, so I'm quite excited to actually have a copy of this because I hadn't actually pre-ordered it. So I've already seen it. It's already a stunning edition. Let me just throw that down there. I'll put the box down as well. So the Illumicrate book is Watermoon by Samantha Soto Yao. Look at this gorgeous cover. The actual cover from the book normally looks nothing like this, and it goes onto the back as well. And let's just take out this to show you that I've already been spoiled for this, but I just love this cover. Hopefully you can see that the light's a bit bright, and then they also have gorgeous little sides, but also the end papers. So yeah, this is Watermoon. It's one of my anticipated books for January releases. What day is it today? This might actually be the January book. I just opened it really late. No, this might be the February book. Can't remember, but here's the blurb for you so you know what it's about. Would you rewrite your destiny if it meant losing a part of your past? On a back street in Tokyo lies a pawn shop, but not everyone can find it. Most will see only a cozy ramen restaurant, and just the chosen ones, those who are lost, will find a place to pawn their life choices and deepest regrets. Hana Ishikawa wakes on her first morning as the pawn shop's new owner to find it ransacked, the shop's most precious acquisition stolen, and her father missing. And then into the shop stumbles a charming stranger, quite unlike other customers, for he offers help instead of seeking it. Together they must journey through a mystical world to find Hannah's father and the stolen choice, through rain, puddles, hitching rides on paper cranes, across the bridge between midnight and morning, and through a night market in the clouds. But as they get closer to the truth, Hannah must reveal a secret of her own and risk making a choice she will never be able to take back. As you can tell from the blurb, this is like a beautifully magical book. We have a bridge between midnight and morning and a night market in the clouds, as well as this shop that you can't quite see unless you are lost. To me, it reminds me a little bit of the Rainfall Market, which I read last year, where you kind of have one shot to kind of change your future or change your past. It also reminds me of, oh my god, I can't remember the name. I was reading it by audiobook, so let me see if Spotify still has it on there. Oh my god, I'm so stressed because it is not coming up in my recently read. Let me look. It also reminds me of Before the Coffee Gets Cold, which is a book where you go to a cafe and you can go back in time if you sit in a certain spot. Now that I'm saying it out loud, it's not as close as the Rainfall Market as a comparison to the Watermoon, but both of these books seem to have that kind of hint of magic in like non-magic places. It's in Tokyo. It looks like a ramen shop. It looks like a cafe. It looks like just a house on the side of the road. But magical things happen when you go in and you hope for them to happen. And I think that's the key thing for me. I'm so confused. It looks like I didn't finish reading that book, but I'm going to put that down over there. I was enjoying what I heard. I'm not good with audiobooks. But yeah, I'm really excited to read The Watermoon. I need to put the cover back on. And I'm really thankful that Illumicrate have made this gorgeous special edition. Okay, next up, let's do Goldsboro first because I can do all my surprises right at the end for a box of stories. So Goldsboro always comes in like a really well packaged box. So this one's going to take some time. So yeah, they always put so much bubble wrap on these books, which I'm always thankful for because they always come in perfect edition, but I always end up with so much bubble wrap and I'm like, I don't think I need this much in my house. But we will grab this book and where do we end? Oh no. This is stunning and I'm currently trapped in the bubble wrap. Oh no. Okay, so not only do they put on loads of bubble wrap, they always come with like this really plastic wrap as well, which I hate the look of, but I'm not taking it off just for this video just yet. So we're gonna have to deal with the glare from my PC. Maybe if I put it to a dark mode screen. There we go. Doesn't look the best. Let me put that back. Oh no, it's way too bright. So the book for this month from Goldsboro was The House of Frost and Feathers by Lauren Weisbrunn. I think that's how you pronounce her name. And I haven't heard of this book, but I'm excited to read the blurb along with you and see what it's about. And then we will also stunning. So I'll be honest, the front cover looks the same as most front covers normally do, so I don't know if that is a unique cover, but the hardback edition underneath looks stunning and I opened it. So the light really shines off this foiling, so that's perfect. It's got these gorgeous feathers and the skull in the middle. The edges really look like a forest of branches. Does it have anything inside? No, but it is signed. So if you do get a Goldsboro subscription, nearly all their books come signed, and it's always a really nice edition. And it does say in here, actually, it's the January 2025 book. So I believe both this and the Illumicrate book were the January books, and I'm just being a pain and opening them in February because I've left them on the side for too long. But this is gorgeous. Let me read the blurb for you. The world teeters on the edge of eternal slumber. Mauritia's time is running out. She's already lost her family to the sleeping plague, and she fears she'll be next. Penniless and desperate for protection, Mauritia is forced to accept a job as apprentice to the notorious Kuldunya sorceress Baba Zima. Reading this, I think I've actually read this before, so this might also be my January most anticipated books, but I have forgotten about it since writing that post. Or it just sounds like another book that I've read. Let's carry on reading. Despite Baba Zima's reputation for cruelty, Mauritia finds herself drawn into the magical world of Kuldunri and is thrust into looking for a cure to the plague. If Mauritia finds it, she will finally be safe. As the search grows increasingly dangerous and seemingly impossible, Mauritia uncovers hidden connections between the sleeping plague, her own family's history, and her haunting dreams of a masked ball where sleepers are trapped endlessly dancing, and a monstrous beaked man who shadows her every step. It's a sweeping and lyrical, this is a luscious retelling of the classic Slavic Baba Yaga fairy tale. I'll be honest, I'm not super into Baba Yaga and what that means, but I have seen lots of, I guess, fan art and depictions online, so I do know this is a popular fairy tale for Slavic regions, and I have heard mentions of it in other books, but I've never had a book that has gone so in depth into it, so I'm quite excited to read this one. Let me put the cover there. The book itself reminds me of a lot of the kind of folktale retellings that I've read in the past, so I think I'm really going to enjoy this one, and I'm quite happy I got this gorgeous special edition from Goldsboro because it is just a beautiful edition to have. And then last but never least, we have the Box of Stories. This is my subscription that has 4 books in it, and they're all going to be a surprise. So let me quickly unwrap it and I will show you what's in here. So they've recently all been coming in like these gorgeous green boxes, which I've been trying very hard not to keep for reasons that means they just clutter my space, but I love them. So yeah, they also all come with like the perfect like little reminder of what a Box of Stories is. So let me quickly tell you if you haven't already seen me talk about this online before, but a Box of Stories is a way to save books from not being read. About 77 million books are destroyed in the UK every year, of which 83% are usually pulped before they've even been read by anyone. So this subscription is basically taking those books that haven't been bought by stockists or haven't been marketed properly or just haven't been bought and picked up, and instead of going to get pulped, they are then put into the subscription service to give them like a second chance, put them into hands of people who might read them because they're already on their shelves. And so far I get this sci-fi and fantasy 4-book subscription, so it comes every month. You can get it in multiple different genres, you can get it in just fiction or non-fiction, and so far for me most of the books that I've got have been of interest to me. There's been a couple, like I can count on one hand, I've been getting them since last year, but I can count on one hand the books that I haven't been interested in, and normally they're books that I would take into work and give them to people who would be interested in them there. So let's go into which of the books I got this month. Okay, we always get a bookmark. I've just instantly seen the first book and my instant thought was that it was the 5th season. It's not the 5th season. Thankfully, I'd be so shocked if it was. But the cover immediately made me think of it. And then, yeah, it's just 4 books. Sometimes they put in a surprise extra book, depending on how many months you've got the subscription for. But this one is just for, I'm going to move this because I feel like that is not helping. Put that down. So the first book is March's End by Daniel Polanski. As you can see, you can probably tell why I thought this was the 5th season because of the kind of this bit over here, like the pattern and textures. Definitely not, but let's read the blurb. This definitely looks like a fantasy straight off the bat. We'll find out. By day, the Harrows are teachers, doctors, bartenders, and vagrants. By night, they are rulers and protectors of the march. A fantasy realm where antique toys march to battle. Cities are carried on the backs of giant snails, and thunderstorms can be subdued with a song. For generations, the Harrows stood unified, but years of bitter secrets have fractured the family and left their realm at war. Now calculating High Queen Sophia and her 3 children, Noble, Constance, rebellious Mary Ann, tortured Will, must reunite in the face of a danger which threatens to destroy both the march and the mundane world. But the tides of blood are bitter, and hate is strongest when born of love. Will the Harrow children save the march, or damn it? And most of the books that come in this are from Angry Robot Books, and they have got file under at the bottom of their books to say what you should think of what you're going to get out of the book. And the first one is file under Not Narnia. So my initial thought was, this sounds a little bit like Narnia, where like you go and rule like a mystical land even though you live in the real world, but also made me think of Alice in Wonderland, especially with the rulers kind of fighting it out. The mention of toys reminds me of like the Nutcracker as well for some reason, but I don't know why. And then this reference most people might not get, but there was a game called Lost in Random that was about like dice and cards a few years ago. It reminds me of that a little bit as well, which is really intriguing. But yeah, I'm quite excited to see how the Harrows kind of became part of March and became rulers there, and also what the kind of betrayals and secrets were, to see if there's a backstory that's going to be interesting. But this is definitely one of those books that I think if I'd even just read the blurb I would have picked it up, so I'm quite intrigued by this one. The next 2 books both look like sci-fi, so let's just pick up a random one. So the first one is going to be Shrouded Loyalties by Reese Hogan. This immediately, I don't know if everyone's going to agree with me, but this looks like a book I would not pick up. I do not like the cover at all, but let's see what it says on the back. It's not who you suspect of betrayal, it's who you never consider at all. A soldier returns home with a dangerous secret from an alternative realm, unaware that she is surrounded by spies and collaborators in this intense military sci-fi novel. Okay, I'm immediately not turned on by this because military sci-fi is not a genre I would normally go for. Okay, Naval Officer Mila Blackwood is determined to keep her country's most powerful secret, shrouding the ability to traverse their planet in seconds through an alternate realm, out of enemy hands. But spies are everywhere. Her submarine has been infiltrated by a Divnak agent, and her teenage brother has been seduced by an enemy soldier. When Blackwood's submarine is attacked by a monster, she and fellow sailor Holland are marked with special abilities, whose manifestations could end the war, but in whose favour. Forced to submit to military scientists in her paranoid and war-torn home, Blackwood soon learns that the only people she can trust might also be the enemy. So yeah, it's military sci-fi, but there seems to be like superpowers and also monsters, and there's lots of betrayal in here. So I am intrigued a little bit because I kind of want to see what these powers are and how it affects Mila and the world. But also I don't really like military soldier stories, so this is on my maybe list. I might pick it up, and if I don't pick it up in the next few months, I will probably take it to work and give it to someone else, because I know there's lots of people at work that probably would read this. And then the next book, okay, so there's 2. There's the sci-fi book I mentioned before, but then there's also one that looks like more of a fantasy. But the sci-fi book is a big chunky book, so let's read this one first. So this one, as you can see, is a thick book, and it's called Richards and Klein by Guy Haley. And apparently Guy Haley is a hidden gem of British sci-fi. I've never heard of him, so if you have, let me know what you think. But let's read the blurb together about what this is about. Here's why I've never heard of him. From Warhammer 40,000, author Guy Haley. He's an author for Warhammer 40k. That's why I've not really heard of him, because I've never had that much of an interest in that. But this is his first original series, remastered and collected together in an omnibus edition. So this is, I believe it must be more than one book within this, that's why it's such a chunky boy. And yeah, I'm quite excited to see. But meet Richards and Klein, the Holmes and Watson of the 22nd century. Well, if Holmes were an advanced AI obsessed with pulp fiction and Watson a gun-toting cyborg. When AI rights activist Zhang Quifang winds up murdered, Richards has to get involved. The man set his kind free after all. What should be a simple case turns out to be anything but, because Quifang has been killed more than once. Someone really wanted him dead. A deadly trail leads the duo across a warming globe, from New London to Colorado, Sino-Siberia and beyond. For the ultimate answers lie the virtual world of reality 36. So yeah, there's AI, robots, virtual worlds, and a kind of, I don't know if it's a utopian society, but it's a future society. I'm intrigued, and also my camera's yelling at me that we're running out of battery, so I'm going to talk really fast through the next book and hope that it doesn't die. Okay. So last and not least, we have The Bone Roots by Gabriella Houston. This immediately looks like a fantasy book, but let's read the blurb. Two mothers each trying to protect her daughter, but only one of them can succeed, and only one of them knows why. Every year, Vedma Kada bleeds on the ground as payment to the bone roots of the childbearing tree for the gift of her daughter, Setcha. But Setcha is turning stranger and wilder with each passing year, and with her impending 16th birthday, the tree demands a higher price. Meanwhile, Slajana, I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, a rich noble woman of Weisner has been searching for her missing daughter Aluba, snatched as a baby by the fox thief. As Slajana reunites with the woman who brought her Luba all those years ago, she dares to hope that she will uncover the secret of her daughter's fate. So this really doesn't give us a lot, but there's like a magic tree, which is what we see on the front cover, and there's two mothers who are trying to protect and save their daughters. This is intriguing. I think 3 out of 4 of books that I would definitely read, with only this one being the one that I might not pick up, is pretty good. So yeah, this is my book haul of 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 books in the past few weeks. I'm really excited to get around to reading most of them, apart from that one book from a box of stories, which I might just take into work anyway. If you've read any of these, let me know what you thought without any spoilers, and tell me which ones I should be reading first. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.